Getting to know your characters. Okay, so whether you're planning characters before you dive in, whether you dove in and have reached a point where you need to know more about the people populating your world to carry on, there's things I like to do to flesh my characters out and get to know them. There's two things I want all my characters to be: real and interesting. That's it. I don't have to like them. I don't have to agree with them. Obviously, if I'm spending as much time with them as it takes to write a whole story, it's nice to actually like them a bit, particularly the main ones, but it's not essential. In order for characters to feel real and interesting to me, I need to believe them and what they do. It doesn't matter if they're wizards or high school students or ninjas or high school student ninjas. I need to believe them so I can care about what happens. So what's real? Real is knowing how somebody does things. Simple things. How does a character make a cup of tea? Are they a tea bag and sugar in first person? How do they get dressed? Do they lay out their outfits the night before or just throw on the first thing they see in the morning? What's their bedroom floor like? Neat and pristine? Covered in magazines and dirty pants? Questions about their life, their existence. Not all of it is essential, but any detail has the potential to become important to the story. Even the silly, smaller stuff. Remember, these questions come alongside writing scenes. When it feels like the actual story writing isn't flowing, I do some of this building and character work in the meantime, and more often than not, it sparks something story-wise. Let's do it for Zach. He's 16. Let's say he turned 16 last month, on the same day as his last GCSE exam. What's his room like? It's pretty messy. Not a complete bomb site, but some of the clothes on the floor have been there a good week. His room is pretty small. It's at the front of the house, so at night you can sometimes hear people coming back from the pub and arguing on the corner. Does he have posters on his wall? I don't know. Not loads. He's not into cars and doesn't like the idea of putting women in bikinis up like he knows a lot of boys at school do. There's one big poster above his bed. It's Akira. Bam. He's into manga. New fact. Wicked. I like manga, but my knowledge is limited, so I need to research manga now and find out what his favourites are and which ones he thinks are overrated. Why is he into manga? I don't know. Maybe his mom's into it. Maybe his mom's Japanese. His grandfather. Speaking of beds, his is a single which really pisses him off because Jamie has a double. Who's Jamie? His older brother? Bam. He's got an older brother. How much older? 2 years. Jamie is finishing his A-levels. He's planning to go to uni. Where? Dunno. A different city. He's leaving home in September and Jamie is planning on stealing his double bed. That's how it goes. Running with ideas, building all the time. If I had more time, I'd keep going. Who else lives at home? How long have they lived in the house? What's the atmosphere like at home? Does anyone blast music? What music? Are there any pets? Something I like to do early on is fill my characters' lives with details from my own. I give them the duvet cover I had when I was their age, or a cat, because I have a cat and I love cats, or a dad who's not around because I know what that feels like. It's like a cheat code to feeling connected to your characters, which enhances how interesting they are. I also like to give them things I wish I had. Maybe they have the kick-ass stereo I couldn't afford, or maybe they have an older sister like I always wanted. Or they're really good at skateboarding, like I always dreamed of being. See, we can make them whatever we want, so long as it's interesting and feels real. A very important part of making a character real is knowing how they would respond to things that happen. We've all played the would you rather game. Would you rather be really fast or really, really strong? Play it with your characters, listen to their answers, then ask yourself why. Why would Zach choose to be really, really strong? Is there some aspect of his life and his upbringing that would make him choose that? I present scenarios to my characters and work out what they would do. What would Zach do if he found a backpack full of money in a bush in the park? What does Zach do when somebody cuts in front of him in the queue at McDonald's? What would Zach do if he saw a little 7-year-old kid being bullied behind the science block? Whatever your answers are, they can't be wrong, and you can answer them again and again until they feel like they fit who you think this person is. It's up to you. I like to remember something my nan used to say when I was little. Nobody is one thing. I make sure that my characters have contradictions in them, hidden truths they don't share, things that offer tensions inside themselves. For example, I know Zach and Marlon have been friends for years. They're super close and would do anything for each other, but I also know that if a situation arose where Melissa showed interest in him and he had to choose between going with her or helping Marlon with something, he might well go with Melissa. Does that make him a bad person? I don't think so. It makes him interesting because it means he has the potential to do something that causes tension. Real people are complicated. We crave attention, but we need our own space. We care about animals, but we love T-bone steak. We're keen to please our parents, but we have to carve our own path. Real people have secrets. They have emotions, fears, and desires. Real people make mistakes. They have wants. And real people cause tensions. What are those things inside your characters? Ask them some questions, see what you get. Imagine them in some scenarios, see what they do. And remember, give them the potential to surprise us and themselves. We might not agree with our characters, but if we know them well enough to understand why they might act like they do and believe it, then we've got real people who can help us tell any story we like.